Now that we know what is about this polarity and subjectivity, let us calculate the polarity and subjectivity of each of the comedians. Now the data I am going to use is data clean. If you remember, this was the pandas data frame which contains the index is the comedian name and the transcript is the screenplay or the dialogue that has been spoken by each of these comedians onto their show. So I'm going to use this as my data. Now in order to use the sentimental analysis and calculate this polarity and subjectivity, we need this text blob module. You need to install it. So for that you can open the Anaconda prompt. Just go to the search and search for Anaconda prompt, and here you can just type a command conda, and the command is conda install -c conda force, and the module is text blob, all in lowercase. So let me hit enter. Then it will search for the text blob and it will install on your machine. This is the command for you. Now let us go back, and after text blob is installed, I can use it. From text blob, I'm going to import the text blob. So if you haven't installed it, then you will get an error. So first of all, you need to install it, then run it. After it is successfully executed, that means text blob has been just installed on your machine. Now that we have successfully imported the text blob on our project, I can just call the polarity and subjectivity, and I will store in these two variables. First, let us create a polarity and define the polarity for each of these comedian using their transcript. Since I need to just create the polarity for each of these, that is transcript, I will be using lambda function, and I will pass x as an argument to this function, and I'm going to just call this text blob that we have just imported here. This is the function that takes the value x, and what is the x here? X will be our transcript, and from here I'm going to call, that is sentiment dot polarity. This will give me polarity. So this command will be give me polarity. I can just copy it, I can paste it in the subjectivity and just change polarity to subjectivity. Now we have the two variable that will give us polarity and subjectivity. Just run it, and after running it, let us go down, and now we need to define the polarity and subjectivity. So first, data and transcript. What is data transcript? So data is should be data clean. So data clean represents this data, and I'm going to extract the transcript out of it. And after I extract the transcript out of it, next thing is I need to call the apply function, and I will pass the polarity to it, this same function pol. So that means I will be calling this pol for each and every transcript. That is what this line means. And similarly, I need to do the same for subjectivity. I will call the transcript and I will apply the subjectivity. This function will be called for each and every transcript of the comedian using this line. Now after it is done, I can run it also, and I can show you what it will give me. So see here, only have this value of transcript. So this is just a subjectivity value because it has been replaced with the polarity. You can print both of them in order to check, but now what I can do is, if you just see here our data clean, if I go down and show you data clean, then it contains the comedian name and the transcript. So along with this transcript, I want to make the two columns, one column for storing the polarity and next column to store the subjectivity. So for that, what I can do is I'll just store this polarity that I have just calculated in this data clean by just creating a new column polarity. And similarly, I can store the subjectivity in this data clean data frame, and I want to create a new column with a name subjectivity. So this will create a new column with the polarity and store the polarity to it, and this will create the subjectivity right here. At this time we have only the index and the transcript. After we execute this line of a code, new column will be added with a polarity and subjectivity. Now let us run this code. Now it is executed. Now let us run our data clean and let us check it. Then you can see the polarity and subjectivity. So polarity basically defines how positive or the negative word is there, and subjectivity tells us if the transcript is fact or opinionated. So see here, we have a polarity value and subjectivity for Ali. So Ali polarity is kind of near to 0. So that means maybe the transcript that has been delivered by the Ali has kind of a less positive and minimum word. It is kind of a polar word, like it neither has the extreme positive word or extreme negative word. You can see in the case of Dave and in the case of that is the Dave only, you can see the negative. So maybe Dave most likely is giving us a negative word more, and subjectivity is kind of opinionated. So almost all of them are opinionated, and that is the kind of the comedians are. They are comedians and they have their own opinions, and through their opinionated delivery speech they tend to make us laugh. So all of them are opinionated. None of them values are near to 0. And the most opinionated, that is the comedian, is here Bo, or maybe Anthony. Anthony is the most opinionated, that is comedian. We can see it from the subjectivity. We have already discussed about the subjectivity and polarity. So polarity is kind of either to classify positive or negative word. Subjectivity is about the opinion and the fact. So this is all in this video. We saw how to determine the polarity and subjectivity out of this textual data. Now in the next upcoming video, we will plot these values, and we are going to do it for all the transcript one by one also. So I'll see you in the next one.